In this video, we're going to show you how to restore an old mirror using Osborne's molding and trim. Stay tuned and we'll be right back. I recently found an old mirror that I wanted to restore as a gift by adding a frame with some trim on the outside edges. To do this, I'm going to use a 3/4 inch sheet of plywood as the base that I can attach using some construction adhesive later. Once the size of the mirror has been traced onto the sheet of plywood, you can cut it out with a circular saw or table saw depending on what you have available. Next, I'll create a mitered frame around the edges of the plywood that I'll use to attach my molding and trim to. The frame should fit tight around the plywood base, so make sure to pull accurate measurements based on your project dimensions. Once you've established one mitered corner, you can line that up on the plywood base and use a carpenter square to mark a 45-degree miter matching up on the other end. This will ensure all your miters match even if the store-bought plywood has some inconsistencies. Now that our outside frame is cut out, we can add some pocket holes to each board and attach using a wood screw. Once the frame is attached, now is a good time to sand any areas that will be exposed after the molding installation. I'm using two different molding profiles for this project. The outside is going to be a carved acanthus leaf profile, while the inside will be a carved bead molding. For more info on these molding profiles, be sure to check out the links in the description. The outer trim will be the same dimensions as my frame, so I'll cut those out first before moving on to the interior trim that will surround the mirror. For the interior trim, make sure to place the mirror back in its location before measuring to avoid any issues with alignment. Before removing the mirror, I'll make sure to dry fit all of the pieces just to make sure that my miters are lining up how I want them to, and then I'll mark the edges so that I can remove the mirror and attach the molding using a brad nailer and some wood glue. Next, I'll add a thin bead of wood glue to the back side of my molding and tack it in place using an 18 gauge brad nailer. This will hold the trim in place until the wood glue dries, but also allow us to correct any slight bowing in the wood. Once our outside trim is attached, we can line up the interior trim with our lines that we created earlier and add some paint before installing the mirror. To secure the mirror to the frame, I'm using a construction adhesive that is made specifically for mirrors. You can find this at most local hardware stores and it is recommended for this installation process. I made sure to leave the surface that I'm applying adhesive to free from any paint. This will make sure that the adhesive has a strong bond between the wood and the mirror. I applied the adhesive along the outside perimeter of the plywood as well as the interior to make sure that there's plenty of coverage and adhesion for the mirror. All that's left to do is place the mirror back into its spot and apply some pressure until the adhesive has set. Thank you for joining us for this episode of The Builder Studio. If you're interested in the products used in this video, be sure to check out the links below. As always, be sure to like, subscribe, and leave us a comment, and we'll see you next time in The Builder Studio.